If you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, then you better wake up and pay attention.
Imagine being in your most peaceful place, resting as if you were floating, your mind totally at peace, and your body completely at rest. No thoughts, no worries, and no concept of time. Your every need and want being taken care of, surrounded by only peace and love. Now imagine that your mother has just given you birth. Her pain of the last few hours has long been forgotten. With tears of joy filling her eyes, she holds you to her breast. You reattach, and order is restored. Her little angel has finally arrived, and your race with death has just begun. However, if you'll pay attention, I'll tell you how you can live forever. Will you bring your mother a lifetime of joy or pain? That is entirely up to you. Only you can decide if you will be good or evil. Don't be evil. As bad as the pain of childbirth is, the moment it ends, the pain turns into overwhelming joy. Just as good is often derived from bad, and evil is often derived from good. We are the only reason that there is good and evil. If we would follow only 10 rules, there would be no evil. It's that simple. And we call ourselves intelligent. I'm often asked, if there is a God, why does he make bad things happen? God doesn't make bad things happen. We do. God tells us how to ensure that good things happen, but we don't pay attention. On July 4th, 2010, I began to pay attention. You too should pay attention. I'm not talking about paying attention to global warming, the melting glaciers, or the Hollywood stars. Global warming will happen, the glaciers will melt, and the stars will fall. This we already know. I'm talking about paying attention to you. Pay attention to your mind, pay attention to your body, and pay attention to your spirit. Pay attention to how you treat yourself. Don't overindulge in anything. Keep your body fit. Don't allow your mind to falter. And prepare your spirit to be reunited with God. Pay attention to that little voice that isn't yours. As much as you don't like what he has to say, he dispenses good advice. I began paying attention when I found myself in the emergency room. When I read the doctor's report, he wrote, and I quote, "A 49-year-old, obese, alcoholic male who looks much older than his stated age." His diagnosis was dead on, and that got my attention, at least for a little while. Pay attention to God's rules and live by them. There are only 10. Pay attention to what you say. Your tongue is the most powerful weapon you possess. More importantly, pay attention to what's not said. Oftentimes, that will be the only honest answer you'll ever get. Don't pay attention to other people's faults unless you've managed to correct all of your own. If you are able to do so, please tell me how. At 6 foot tall, weighing in at 275 pounds, and drinking a fifth of vodka daily, I clearly was not paying attention. Why don't we pay attention? I'm talking about paying attention to that little voice, the one that's not yours. I call mine God. I call mine God because his spirit is the only spirit that dwells within me. A God who has 10 simple rules that, when followed, will change your life. And if followed by all, would change the world. Pay attention to your character. You never know when an insignificant act might have a significant impact on someone else's life. I call those moments insignificantly significant. Pay attention to your spouse, not with a peck on the cheek and a pleasant good night, but with the passion that brought you together when your love was young. Pay attention to your children. Don't let someone else raise them. Pay attention to your priorities. Pay attention to those you associate with. Choose your friends wisely. Turn your enemies into allies. Pay attention to the needs of others. Someday you may be the one in need. Pay attention to your deeds. Understand that everything is temporary, including you. You will die, and so will everyone else that you love. So make the day after yesterday your most important day. Make time for breaking bread, not only with those you love, but also with those in need. Make room for forgiveness. Remember that someday you too will be hosting your Last Supper. It could be today. Give thanks for what you have, but more importantly, give thanks for what you don't have. Enjoy the promise of the sunrise and the wisdom of the sunset. Understand that the future is all that exists. The canvas is pure white and anxious to be painted. The past is past, and so has this moment. The only thing that's left is whatever's next. So pay attention to whatever's next. It may last no longer than a heartbeat, but it's the only picture that you get to paint. Pay attention to the afflicted, the needy, the widows, and the orphans. If you do, God will be pleased, and you will be blessed. Pay attention to your deeds. They too become a part of your final painting. Set a good example. Don't be the one who sets a good bad example or a bad example of being good. There are plenty of fools to fill those shoes. Be kind and set a good example. Should you lose your colors along the way, follow in the footsteps of Jesus. They will lead you home. But you must pay attention to the signs. I did not pay attention to the signs. Allow me to introduce death. 5 a.m., July 5th, 2010. We are all here to serve. We serve our God, our needs, our lusts, and our desires. We go after whatever it is that we want with such passion that we are willing to destroy everything in our path. We become F5s and very dangerous. For those of you who don't know, an F5 is one of the most destructive forces known to man. A funnel of fury dropping from the sky and taking revenge on everything in its path. When the sirens sound, please pay attention. On the 4th of July, 2010, I consumed a half a gallon of vodka. Those of you who don't know me are probably thinking, he would be dead if he drank that much. And those of you who do know me know that I'm telling the truth. And yes, I should be dead. But because God was paying attention, even when I wasn't, I was able to watch my son graduate from college. Pay attention to how many times you run away from yourself. But more importantly, pay attention to how many times you catch up with yourself. Because no matter how far you run, you will always be there. Pay attention to where you are. If you're not where you should be, find the straight and narrow path. It's the fastest way home. If you don't have a home, let the Master help you build the foundation. But first, you must reach deep inside, pull out your best colors, and begin painting. No matter how bad your life might seem, the canvas is ever changing. So never stop painting. When the painting stops, so does life. Pay attention to the eyes of children. There's a glimmer that begins to fade after a certain age. Make it your passion to keep that glimmer alive. That glimmer is our future. And when the light goes out, a part of the universe dies. Pay attention to what's good and share that goodness with everyone that you meet. Teach our children how to love. Don't teach them how to kill. Teach our children how to be kind. Don't teach them how to fight. Teach our children about giving. Don't teach them how to steal. Teach our children about God. Don't teach them how to be evil. Teach our children to tell the truth. Don't teach them how to lie. Teach our children by example, just as Jesus taught the world. Let our children pray. In God we trust. Make an extra effort to pay attention to your own children. Don't allow yourself to become that parent whose child suffers because you're not paying attention. That child who is in need because of your addictions. Don't let your child hurt because you are weak. That isn't fair. Become strong. Be a good parent. Don't waste your time watching television. Instead, spend that time with each other, teaching each other what you've learned. When your child doesn't follow the rules, make sure there is punishment. That is one of our jobs as parents. Don't allow your child to become tragic because you choose not to pay attention. If you find yourself in need, seek help. There are people out there who care. Be someone who cares. Be a child who cares. Don't be that child whose family is gunned down because of the bad decisions that you've made. You are the world's future. You are the new hope. If you come from an abusive home, use that abuse to become strong. Pay attention, become strong, and break the cycle. If you're unable to do so, please don't have children. You don't have to be an alcoholic, you don't have to be an addict, and you don't have to walk alone. Your choices are yours. Be responsible for your actions. Be accountable for your deeds. If you make bad choices, and you will, take responsibility for those choices and make sure that you alone suffer the consequences.